Hey guys, Craig Mack here, Libertybellbeekeepers. Just a little video today as I was asked by one of the members of my local beekeepers group to show how I plan on overwintering my bees. I haven't done it before. It's my first year with my own bees, so this is kind of new to me, but I'm basically taking from the people I consider my mentors and doing what they do, and also with some of the research into Tom Seeley's work and of course the commercial beekeepers as well. I try to get as many sources as I can to try to figure out what's best for me in my area. Obviously whatever's best for your local climate can vary obviously across the country and across the globe. So basically, like I said, I'm just here today to show what I plan on doing as far as overwintering. Now, all my bees are in 5-frame nukes. Every colony I have is in 5 frames, or at least a 5-frame deep hive body. You can take a look around here. You can see most of them are either just a single hive body, 5 frames, a single hive body with a 5-frame medium super, and a few of them have double supers. Colonies that were a little bit more prolific in their honey production and wax building and all those good things. Now today in Philadelphia, where I'm at, it's in probably, I guess, the mid-60s or trying to creep its way up there, but it's nice and warm in the sun, little breeze blowing, so beautiful fall day, and a good day to kind of come out here and take a look at the bees, as they're pretty active on days like today, even into October, because they're just trying to pack it in, whatever they can find. This is also a big time of the year for robbing. As weaker hives can't defend, they'll be destroyed essentially. So back to the initial reasoning for the video. So like I said, all my colonies are in 5-frame nuke hive bodies, some of them with super, some of them without. As far as wintertime goes, being my first time, there's been a lot of course there's a lot of different variations. People do this all kind of ways. They all have their tricks and techniques that they use, and some of them work great, some of them not so much. Sometimes you got to fail in order to succeed, and I am certainly not immune to failure, and really try to embrace it personally, as it's a good indication that not only you're trying, but you're willing to try different things. Now I'm going with, I guess we'll go with these couple right here, since they're in the sun and the bees are really active. As you might be able to see, this is my 5-frame deep hive body. Now I make all my own hives, just about all my own hives. I do have some pre-manufactured that I've gotten from various sources, people I've done work for or done trades with, or just bought their old equipment. But I've made almost everything that I have, so everything you see here is homemade. It's all made by me. I'm in construction, so I have the tools, the equipment, the knowledge, and the space to do all this kind of work. Not everybody does. I'm fortunate that I have all those things at my disposal. Beg your pardon with the train. Some of you that have seen my videos previously know that I'm right next to the train tracks in the Northeast Philadelphia section. The Tacony section, to be more specific. Okay, so back to the hives. Now here, like I said, I got 5-frame deeps. Almost everything I have is deeps, with the exception of my supers. They're all medium supers, and it's really for a matter of convenience for me to be able to handle the weight and to move these things around pretty easily. And I'm also trying to get as many colonies as I can this season. And I went from 0 in March to 1 package that I purchased from Georgia, from Barnyard Bees. If you guys have heard, I'm sure their videos are pretty well liked. And David, who does the work on those videos, I think does a nice job Although I don't agree with all his techniques, I think he's, for the basic beekeeper, he does a nice job of laying things out in very simple terms and also realistic terms. So anyway, the hive bodies, all that came from there. My first package, which is in this colony right here, number 23. Those bees have been great. They were great producers. They made a ton of bees. I did probably 8 or 10 splits from that colony since March 27th of this year. And as of right now, I have 32 colonies going into winter. A couple questionable with some signs of disease, signs of mites. They all basically have mites. There's no getting around mites at this point. Your bees have mites, whether you like it or not. And there's really very little you can do to correct that. They've been treating bees for 30 some years and the mites are still here. I personally am a treatment-free beekeeper. I don't do any treatments. I'm starting mite counts this fall. I started doing some mite counts. And in the spring I'll probably do them more regularly because I'm just curious. As I'm trying to find the good strong bees that can survive the disease and the pests. So once again, back to the original reason why we're here. So I have my 5-frame deep hive body, and on top of those I have this here, which is 1.5 inches tall, and it has, you know what, let me grab one. I'll take you for a little walk. As you can see, my gardens are just about bare with the exception of some of these wildflowers that I've got going on. There's my hound dog Cooper and my other hound dog Inigo Montoya. They're my loyal and faithful dog friends who really try my patience sometimes, but they're a blast. They're a lot of fun. So I went inside and I grabbed a hold of one of my inner covers so I could show it to you out here, and it was a little bit better light. So on top of all my 5-frame colonies, I have this. It's basically homemade inner cover. It fits the top of my hive body. I've got a 2-inch or maybe 2.25-inch hole drilled in the center. I have a 3/4-inch hole drilled on one side that's screened, and I also have another one on the front side that is not screened, to be used as an upper entrance. Now, some people are against upper entrances, some people are not. I built these more so for ventilation than for anything. We all know cold doesn't kill the bees, but moisture does. So I built these basically to help alleviate some of the moisture issues, get good ventilation, and also it'll allow me somewhere to emergency feed if I have to. Instead of doing like a mountain camp scenario, I can use these. I can use these to dump sugar into if need be. I can close off the holes on the ends if I feel so the need. The bees have, a lot of them have started to close up this center hole, at least partially, and some of them have even started work on some of these other upper entrance holes, upper ventilation holes. But that's how I built my inner covers. I tried to make them multi-purpose and multifaceted. That way I could address situations as they arise in different manners as needed. So on top of my hive bodies, I have this inner cover, as you can see here. Now on top of the inner cover, I have a piece of 2-inch insulation foam, which you can see here. It's a purple foam from one of the home stores. That's just ripped down on my table saw to fit the top of the hives. Now, what I'm looking at this as is similar to like a roof on a house. The insulation is on the roof, but you also have ventilation in your attic space or in the space in your roof, and it's necessary because moisture will build up in your home and can negatively affect your roof. Being in construction, I've seen it time and time again that there's no ventilation, and you might see your shingles start to buckle in those instances, and it's because there's no ventilation. You either need like a ridge vent on a home, or you need some kind of gable end vent, and that alleviates that problem, allows the moisture to escape, allows fresh air throughout the attic space. And that's basically what I'm considering this inner cover. I don't know if it'll work. I'm hoping it does. I've seen some of my mentors, they put the foam directly on top of the colonies, and every single one seems to be chewed open. The bees chew it open to get, I guess, ventilation, maybe an upper entrance, I don't know. But I kind of circumvented that with, like I said, with this multi-purpose inner cover. Having never done this before, I'm really kind of rolling the dice here. And I think a lot of us kind of roll the dice no matter what with bees and overwintering. Some of them will survive and others just will not, regardless of their disease or mite load. And treatment is up to the individual as far as I'm concerned. You can treat your bees and that's your business. I choose not to. And I'm sure they'll get a whole bunch of comments one way or the other as to whether or not that's the best scenario or the best thing to do. But as I said before, to each their own. They're your bees. Do with them as you see fit. I like to be reminded, and I have been reminded this year, that these are not domesticated creatures. They are wild animals, and I could wake up tomorrow and every single one of these bees could be gone. They could be gone, could be dead, could be infiltrated by pests, who knows. No matter what we do, nature finds a way to either live or die. And I kind of feel the same way about my bees. Now, I don't want that to be something that's taken lightly. I take treatment and non-treatment very seriously, and I have everything I need to treat bees. I have oxalic acid. I built a Provap. I have it. I at the beginning of this year, as of like the middle of February, my plan was to treat because that's what everybody does. But then I came along and someone suggested, hey, take a look into treatment-free beekeeping and make up your own mind. And after doing so, I've made up my mind to go treatment-free. But that does not mean that I don't think about treatment. I do. I understand the purpose and the reasoning behind it. I understand that beekeeping is an industry. It's a business. People are survive on this as their livelihood, and I would never tell anybody how to live their life. This is just what I'm choosing to do. Like it or not, it's not up to you. It's not your decision, it's mine. And the way you keep your bees is up to you. It's your decision, not mine. Just going to show you what I think and tell you what I think, and let you know that I think a lot of people that are treatment-free also understand treatment. How and why it's necessary, if it's necessary. And me personally, I wrestle with it all the time because there's great research for both scenarios. One of my mentors is treatment-free and has always been, doesn't do mite counts, doesn't do any of that stuff. And he came through winter last year, 100% survival rate with 35 or almost 40 colonies. So you can make up your own mind. I've seen it for myself. I know plenty of people that do treat, don't treat properly. There's another issue with treatments. To me, I just think it's one more thing that I don't want to have to worry about. I do a lot of splits, as you can see, going from 1 colony to 30 colonies in one season. Between splits and cutouts was how I got to this number. And like I said, my bees aren't immune. I know there's mites in several of these colonies. I know there's disease in several of these colonies. I'm choosing to roll the dice and let the bees work it out. They do a pretty good job of working things out on their own, and I think that they can handle the mites and disease on their own as well. Now, that also takes you down a different path with your beekeeping. It's not the same as building 6-7 stacks of supers and honey supers. It's different. It's a different case scenario. So you have to make up that decision on your own, and I won't be one to tell you one way or the other how to keep your bees. To each their own. But like I said, that's my wintering setup. Now, like I said, I have a couple that have extra supers on them, and everything's the same. I do have plans on trying some different hive designs over the summer, or I'm sorry, over the winter for next spring. Some more natural hives, so to speak, more like log hives would be, thicker walls, deeper frames. But most of the research that I've seen that's really positive seems to be in this 5-frame or a 5-frame and a medium super or a double 5-frame deep setup. This seems to be the most successful for people going in a treatment-free direction. Now, you also have different setups you can do with that. Different hive configurations. For me, I just went with mostly deeps because that way they're interchangeable. When I'm doing splits, I can split a 5-frame into 2 of these 2-frame colonies, or sometimes even stretch it to 3. If you have some extra resources like drawn frame or drawn comb, and really make some serious number increases by doing so. And that's basically what I did. Between splits and cutouts, I went from one colony to over 30 in this season alone. My first season. I did a ton of research. I'm always doing research. I think everybody that's serious about it should. If you're looking to get into bees at some point, research is about the most important thing you can do. Get a good mentor. Read everything you can from every source, from the treatment-free to treatment. Read it all. You have to. If you do not take consideration all sides of the argument, you cannot form your own opinion. That goes pretty across the board in my mind, especially in the times that we're living in with some of the political divide. I believe that it's super important to get all sides and make up your own mind, formulate your own opinion, and when you come up with the answer, you can stand by it because it's something that you truly believe. And not to say that your mind can't change, it certainly can, and maybe that's, what's best for you. All more power to you, and the best of luck to you in every situation you come across. I'm choosing also, this is another thing, I'm choosing also to stay wide open with my entrances, no reducers, with the exception of a couple of these different style hives that I built over the years, or over this year, that have a separate bottom board, although it's all solid bottom boards. These have just a separated bottom board that I used an entrance reducer on, and that was more so for defense than it was for anything. I used this 1/8-inch hardware cloth and just reduce the entrance, but give them full ventilation, but they can also defend the colony easily as well. Some of the colonies, like this one in particular, they started really propylizing the entrance. There's a couple others that I think these guys had started to propylize that entrance shut. They're doing a pretty good job of that. And that screen kind of gives them just a nice base to do so if they choose to. There's some right there. And if they want to close it up, they will, I'm sure. And you can see some of them have already started to. Others have not even touched it. They don't seem to care. And that's about it. Now I'm rambling on for almost 20 minutes. I figure that's about enough. So that's my winter setup. I'm hoping things are successful. I'm hoping I got good, strong bees, and I'm hoping to come through winter with a good survival rate. But I'm also anticipating loss. I'm expecting bees to die. They die all the time. Look at this deck. It's absolutely littered with dead bees because they die every day, every minute of every day. And that's just the way it is. Regardless of treatment, regardless of disease or mite load, the bees die. And that's just the way it is. So be prepared for loss. If you have 1 or 2 colonies, you could lose them both. And that's just the way it is, regardless of how well you tried to prep or how many treatments you did or how little treatment you did. It's just the nature of nature. Things die. They're born, they live, and they die. My hope is that some of these bees are strong enough to survive the pest and disease load, and we make some more bees from them next year. I'm also a big proponent of swarm catching, and I'll never shy away from doing cutouts, because basically my cutout income from last year offset the cost of all my supplies. So everything you see here was bought and paid for by the bees. I had nothing to do. I put very, very little money out. Initially, I spent money just for material for hive bodies, but that money is long since been recuperated by doing the work, doing cutouts and removals. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you get some good information. Leave some comments if you choose. If not, oh well. To each their own. Happy beekeeping to all of you. Best of luck through the winter, and see you in the spring.